Hey everybody, so today we're going to talk about brainstorming our narrative story. And the prompt that I'm going to give you is you have read about Jim's adventure at Treasure Island. And your class is creating a collection of adventure stories, which will be read by parents and teachers and other students in the school. So for your story, I want you to imagine that you're stranded on Treasure Island. And I want to know what exciting adventures you're going to have while you are waiting to be rescued. So, of course, we know in our story that we need to make sure we develop good characters. And you yourself will be one character in your story, and you will need to have several other characters in your story as well. Now, we're on the brainstorming portion of this. So brainstorming means we're just throwing out good ideas. Doesn't mean we'll end up using all of our good ideas, but we're throwing out as many ideas as we possibly can for who we want to be in our story. So the very first slide that you have says, type your ideas for characters that you might include in your story. And I want you to tell at least 3 or maybe even more. So when you go to actually write your story, you have several different ideas. But notice I said include the names of the characters and the descriptions of the characters so we know who they are. Of course, you'll go into much more detail when you write your story, but here for just the brainstorming part, we want to have those ideas that are popping up and who you think those characters are going to be in your story. So to add characters to your Google slide, what you're going to do is you're going to come up here to the Shapes tab, and you can either use a rectangle or a circle. I don't care which. I'm going to use a circle. And then I'm going to drag that out to type it. And again, you want to include the name and description. So I want to include Jim, who was from Treasure Island, in my story as well. And so I'm going to write Jim Cabin Boy. And then, of course, I'm going to go and add another circle in so I can add another character. Now, if you want another one of these arrows like I've done here, all you have to do is come up here, choose arrow, and then it'll give you a dot to start from, and you can pull it out pointing towards the other one. And then double click into the circle, and you can type who you want your second character to be and the description. Notice I didn't make my description long. Now, if I'm choosing another character, like I might choose Jerry Crow. And he is going to be a pirate with a hook hand. Now, this character obviously was not in Treasure Island, but I want him to be part of my story. And then, of course, I'm going to add a third bubble. And I'm going to tell who that character is as well. So that's what you're going to do with your characters. You need to have at least 3 or more. You might even want to include a bubble to tell who you are in the story and what character you are pretending to be. So the next part of our brainstorming will be choosing our setting, and our setting is where it takes place. So again, you need to give at least 3 or more different examples of where you want your setting to take place. So remember, in order to add things to your slides, you will click on Shapes. Again, you can use rectangular or circle. I'm going to go ahead and use circle. And the first setting I think I might want mine to be in is the stockade. And maybe the next one that I want is the ship, because a lot of the story did take place on the ship in Treasure Island. And maybe the next one could be on the beach because I was stranded there. And I think the third one I'll choose is Ben Gunn's boat, because if I really wanted to get off the island, I think maybe I might use that. And then, of course, the next part, if you want to add arrows to each one of your settings, that would be fine. Remember, you just click on the arrow button and then you go to the bubble that you're starting from, click on the dot and drag it over to the bubble that you're connecting it to. Oh, and I don't need this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. Now, the next part I'm going to add for my setting is the time of day. And the 3 times I've decided that I want, because I want mine to be a little spooky, is I'm going to choose dusk, which is in the evening time, the end part of the day when it's starting to get dark. And I think I will also add early morning because, again, that's a dark, spooky time. And then I think for my third, I'm going to add nighttime because, again, I want the coverage of the darkness. So the next part of our brainstorming is us telling the conflict or the problems in our story. And again, remember, you're telling 3 or more just to get those ideas flowing. That doesn't mean you're going to use all 3 of these, but it's just to get our ideas flowing. So to start, I think that I'm going to say that one of my problems might be that Long John Silver has tied me up. That might be one of my problems. Also, maybe when I get in the boat starts to sink. Notice I'm not adding a lot of details here. All I'm doing is making sure that I have enough to spark my idea when I come back to this later. I might also do pirates corner me at the stockade. Now, make sure you're not just copying my problems. Make sure you come up with some problems of your own. Please make sure you go do these 3 slides today, because tomorrow we will be pulling from them to continue on with our story.